Wenn wir in der Präzisionsfertigung sind, dann entscheidet das richtige Handling über Qualität und Kosten.
Precision manufacturing, handling is important for cost, and modular tray systems are important. They're already used by leading manufacturers today. Josua Ehmer will be telling us about that. He's assistant to top management at ZELL Systemtechnik GmbH. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be here at EMO on the innovation stage. We've been here with ZELL before. We won one of the EMO awards, a great honor. And we have the opportunity now to talk to you about a subject that's dear to our hearts. We believe that there's a lot of innovation potential around the world for this, and this is for the tray technology. I recently went to visit a customer here in Germany, and of course you just have to start somewhere. You have an idea, you want to make a product, and for us, well, precision parts, that's important. Maybe they didn't have trays in the past. Quality and price are important. These are the things you like to handle as a manufacturer, and then you just start. And you buy your first machines, and then there are workshops and job shops where you start making a part. And if things go well, then the company will grow, and then step by step you do all of different things that obviously have to be done in order to move forward. And one thing that tends to be set aside is how are you going to transport these parts that you produce with more and more quality, with better and better surfaces where quality is crucial. How can you get these parts from A to B? And that's a crucial subject. And this is a subject that ZELL deals with because that's where we come from. And for 30 years now, we've been doing sandblasting to improve surfaces, and we've got big customers, Bosch, Trump, and so on. And the question is always, okay, why are we getting these parts scratched or damaged? And we say, it's not our fault. You gave us the containers. That's what we put them in. That's what you wanted. And we didn't end up getting the results that we ourselves wanted to see coming out of our production. And this means that we at ZELL always say ideas for better solutions. There's got to be a better way of doing things. You could, of course, just keep on doing the same thing as in the past, but what's the next good idea? And it's, of course, great if there are others who see it that way too. So thanks once again for the award that we got here on this stage. Now, this is a part like this that you could imagine, a symmetric part, rotational part, symmetrical. You got a technical drawing. You give some thought to how it's supposed to look, and maybe you go see a renowned manufacturer like DMG Mori, you buy the machine, you have the part produced, and then what happens? Well, the first idea is this. For parts transportation in production and maybe afterward for automation, you have these two different things here, not just transportation, but also cleaning. Let's say parts are cleaned, there are certain fluids that are used in the machine process, and they've got to be cleaned off, washed off, so that the part can be packaged at the end of line and then go out to the customer. And so you start here. You use the standard container, small container. A lot of people will be familiar with it. You can stack them, good price, great price. They're available around the world. You can buy them, you put them in stock. They're standard, they're low weight. You just throw your parts in there, bulk product. You buy that in bulk, and then you continue. Now, that's great if automation, quality, and cleaning, of course, are not crucial. You ever go see the customer and you say, well, that's a bad solution you've got there. We say ideas for better solutions. We say it could be done better. And on the other hand, if you have these cleaning containers, if that's an issue, well, then you've got other problems there. Price, relatively high, begins at 200, 300 euros. Quality is so-so. And then automation, well, it's just like grabbing into a big container for automation. It's kind of complex, it's relatively heavy, and so on and so forth. And of course, you do get a certain amount of cleaning, but the question is this the be-all and end-all? We call that manufacturing level 1. That's where you begin. It can be done, and it's sufficient for lots of things, but we're here in Germany or in German-speaking countries, and we're used to different levels, and we might want to go to manufacturing manufacturing level 2. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, if it's about protecting parts, then the first step might be to create cavities so that the parts aren't just in bulk flying around inside the container there. You can put in partitions like that. In order to subdivide your container into different areas or cavities, and of course certain things are done better. It's still a good price, like with the standardized small container, but it's not possible to use it for automation too well, but you improve your quality. It gets a little bit better because you don't just mix everything up there. You can sort your parts, you can have a certain logic there, you can maybe do something with colors, and you can do that same thing with the washing or cleaning containers. We have customers that they put in little baskets there to clean small batches so things don't fly around inside the machine. In other words, they sort things here. Then manufacturing level 2. If that works for you, great. Our customers want to go even further, and that's why we have manufacturing level 3. And this brings us to the products from ZELL, Ideas for Better Solutions. What do we do here? We want to cover all of these areas: price, automation, quality, lightweight, standard, capable of using for cleaning. It's really everything that you want to have, and the truth is, of course, within certain physical limits, it can all be done. But there are still certain things that we have to look at with individual customers, and that's normal. ZELL's idea was, first of all, to use a modular approach. Why? Well, the subject of price, of course, is crucial. We're in Germany, where we do a lot of innovation. We're at EMO with innovation here. We can innovate as much as we want, move forward with quality, but if no one buys it at the end of the day, we haven't made any headway. So let's have a look at a candid look, and say, well, that's why modular is so important, because A, you get a certain level of flexibility in your customers' manufacturing processes, and then B, you want to be able to customize things and automate things. How do you do that? You have to orient your parts so that you can pick them well, handle them, tolerances maybe in the micron range, and for that you've got to create special trays. We're already doing that today quite successfully with foam inserts and deep drawn inserts and so on, but this can't be used for cleaning, or maybe it's not a standard because the next project the customer wants to do maybe isn't round, maybe it's triangular or has a different shape. And in that case, you have to throw this all out. For our OEMs, that's a big subject. When the product changes, what do they do with the containers? Well, then they have to start recycling things. It's a question of sustainability. That's important for our customers. It's not that easy anymore in this regard, and it doesn't make as much sense as it maybe used to. Here I have a couple of examples from reference customers. 98 of our customers are NDA, so we have a hard time showing what these solutions are for our customers. This, though, is a nice example of a customer called Miller Precision that doesn't have an NDA with us. You can go online, you can have a look at their video there, a nice video from that customer. Here we have stainless steel trays. I brought one along. This is what it's about. You want to create a customized space here. We put stamp holes into the sheet metal. We have bayonet connections, so you can easily put custom components onto there. You just twist it 1/4 of a revolution, and that's really crucial. It's for our industry, it's very flexible. You can do different parts in different colors, different possibilities, but at the same time, it's like what you see on the pictures there. It's 100% automation capable. You can put ID on there, barcode, QR code, RFID, all of these things, and the robots can be told very clearly, okay, listen up, this is the matrix that we want to use, this is where we want to do the picking, and with automation, we can get speed back into the manufacturing process that we need here in Germany. And at the same time, as you can see in the picture quite well, you have individual parts. So you can go from the CNC machine or the finished process to then protect the service in the entire process after that. You know exactly where the part is in real time. Quality control, these are subjects that are always important for customers on their roadmap. It's not just limited to the machine park. And then there are other big subjects you see at the trade show here. That's covered, but it's particularly important that we're doing it for these trays. And then cleaning, 360 degrees cleaning. For cleaning components, that's important. That allows you to increase the cleaning quality. How's that possible? You've got to have open containers, but containers that can be closed. Here you see intralogistics between two sites. The components have to go from A to B. What kind of external process do you have to have for that? Each of the 1 million parts there that you produce in very fast cycle times, you have to take them all out by hand, put them into a different tray and so on. No, you don't have to. Leave them in the tray. It's still a defined system for my external supplier. It's very clearly clear for them. It's clear for production. Everyone knows exactly where each and every part is. It's just quite simply great. It's here. Then we have an example from a company called Vallejo. This is just a sketch because we're not allowed to show these individual parts. They're one of the first manufacturers of this. They're a Renault supplier. They supply automotive parts, and they came to see us and said, okay, Mr. Ehmer, we make these parts, we put them in the typical standardized crates. Everything works well, it's standardized, we can automate everything. But we have the issue of positioning of the parts, orientation of the parts in the containers. Everything slides around there. Maybe they touch each other, these parts, but that wasn't the crucial thing. They just wanted to have some structure in the containers. And there are a lot of possibilities for this so that you can put an insert into the small standardized crate. And they opted to go with ZELL. Why? Same reasons. Let's say you have a small modular subcomponent here. It's like Lego for big companies, so it's just a new component. The development costs are much lower than if you have to develop an entirely brand new plastic tray and you have to do injection molds and so on. This is much less cost, good, important for an SME. You have just a special form that you develop, and then you have a standard around it that you can incorporate the smaller things into. And therefore, you put this structure into an existing standard, and then you can improve handling in automation. Here you have another example. We're working together with cleaning companies, including EcoClean, companies Pero. We work around the world. We've got hydraulic components here. There's a company called Vika, and that's also known to everyone around the world in that segment. And the parts have to be put in there, oriented, set up, and they're important for cleaning. They've got to automatically clean their parts. You don't just clean for the sake of cleaning. The results have to be 100% nowadays, and maybe it has to meet ultrasound requirements and so on. For plastics, this is an issue where we have to check whether it works. What ZELL does is do testing. Here's an innovation solution. Put it in your process. See whether the results are right, because you can't always cover everything ahead of time. We got a good result. They gave us good grades. Pero is now a partner of many years that we work with, and we always share ideas about what customers can get in order to come up with the best results for them, because both sides win. It's a win-win situation, and for the customer, they have a good result for relatively heavy components and parts that aren't easy to handle. In particular, in a rotation process in a machine, if the whole thing is flipped by 360 degrees, well, it's a very demanding case, and we came up with a good solution there. And where we can create solutions like this, combine the materials quite well, plastic, stainless steel, depending on what works in the physical parameters, and we see that the results can be very interesting for the cleaning industry too. Okay, that was it for me. That's what I wanted to show you. ZELL works together with many renowned manufacturers. We're also represented here as an exhibitor. We'd be pleased to show you more. It's a new product, and to a certain extent, we're limited in what we're allowed to show you. But in any case, we're trying to live innovation for you. If you're interested, come and ask us questions. Visit us here in this hall, E53. We'd be pleased to talk to you about it if you have any specific questions for us. Thank you for the presentation. Well, when I was listening to you, I think the entire system is hugely interesting. Something popped into my mind right away. On day 2, we had a pop talk here about using AI in robotics, and they were talking about automation of robots. Now, how would that have an impact on that subject if robots are AI controlled, they learn how to pick up themselves? Now, that's what they talked about. But that means you could just put your parts somewhere around in your workshop and the robot would pick them up. Is this something you're looking at? Well, yes, we're discussing this with our partners. Our approach is that we want to reduce chaos, and automation ultimately improves because the parts are identified in real time. IoT, that's where we try to be on board there. We then know exactly where everything is, and you have a certain structure, and then you go into automation. And then there's speed too. You can automate everything, but if it takes a day or something else does it faster, well, then you haven't made enough headway. So maybe we then can do structured trays and we can gain time. Well, you actually don't have to just look at a threat for ZELL. Could theoretically happen, but maybe it could fundamentally change your product too. So it's always interesting to hear how much you're working with AI. Is this something that you already have in use? Do you look at these parts together with AI and check what kinds of trays you have to build with the inserts? Yes, definitely. We're doing our initial AI projects. We're talking about the negative solution, negative to the customer component. If they don't have it, we offer it. And the first step was, okay, we've got a catalog that we offer. How can we find the right puzzle part in that? We do that with normal algorithms. We left AI aside initially, but then for a new part, well, you don't want people to have to work on it for 3 days, and these are the things we're looking at. And of course, optimizing containers with the OEMs. No one wants to transport air around. Everyone wants to have the logistics solutions as full as possible, and AI is a big tool there, and they can help us and accompany us in the years to come in order to enhance efficiencies. I thought it was very interesting, and I thought the product was very interesting. I was very pleased to see that. Great solution. Thank you very much. Let's give him a big hand for ZELL Systemtechnik GmbH. Great presentation. Thank you.